Whether you do it by foot, bike, or car, if you travel through the east side of town, you're going to want to watch our next segment. We'll show you how residents' concerns are being turned into concrete ideas, literally. The East Side neighborhood, spanning from Milpas Street to Salinas Street and Punta Gorda to Canon Perdido, has long awaited traffic safety improvements. Poor lighting, speeding cars, and crosswalk safety are the top priorities for area residents.
The one event that probably got everybody's attention was the unfortunate pedestrian who was killed on Milpas Street at Ortega, Sergio Romero. And we've done some improvements to address pedestrians' safety on Milpas Street, but out of that, the residents wanted more. They wanted us not to just address concerns on Milpas Street, but their entire neighborhood. So they came to our Transportation and Circulation Committee and the City Council and asked the city to do some type of transportation management plan in their neighborhood.
In response to the requests made by residents, City Council met in September of 2012 to discuss the needed traffic improvements.
The East Side has been identified as an area of need for quite some time.
When it came to council about 6 months ago for whether we were if council was going to prioritize this as a work effort, they did feel it was really important, and we as staff are happy to embark on this effort to address pedestrian traffic issues in the East Side neighborhood.
After hearing from many East Side residents at the meeting, Council voted to develop a neighborhood transportation plan specifically for the East Side.
My first immediate reaction was, wow, I can't believe we did it. When City Council made a unanimous decision to make the East Side a priority, so much of our job was convincing people of the community that you can make a difference if you just show up and try and voice your opinion. And to actually see that happen and to actually fulfill that was really, really cool.
I was really happy. I was pleased. I was really, when they said it, I was kind of like, what happened? And then so they had to explain it to me, and I was like, oh yes, we did it, and for that I thank the community because it was a big part of the whole decision.
So the hybrid plan is basically having one component where we go out to the neighborhood to find out directly what's occurring on the streets, what's their observations. Staff is not there on a daily basis, but the East Side residents are, so we look to them to make their neighborhoods more livable. And we are holding 2 workshops. We held one called the East Side Listening Workshop where we could hear all of the concerns. And then we have a second workshop where staff will be looking at potential solutions for those the East Side residents' concerns. Paralleling that effort, we have independent analysis by our traffic engineer. And he will be doing an independent analysis for pretty much the past 10 years of accident collision data, going through all of that, and also canvassing the neighborhood looking for issues that he feels from a traffic engineering standpoint need to be addressed.
The first community workshop was held in the beginning of February at Franklin Elementary School, where city staff sat down with residents to listen to their concerns before developing any improvement plans.
Facilitators from the city, they've broken us up into groups of about 5 or 10, and they break down a series of questions sort of in the areas I had previously mentioned, asking us about where are the areas that cars speed, what are particularly dark or troublesome intersections, where are there missing sidewalks or ramps where you would like the city to fill in. So we're just sort of getting everything out onto maps, and I guess going from there. There are no, wrong answers or negative comments or anything like that. Everybody's been really positive and just, even talking about their sort of pie in the sky dreams for the East Side.
As city employees, we could say, hey, we know there's a problem here or there or whatever. We're not doing that. This is their neighborhood. They live in the neighborhood, so we want them to tell us what their concerns or problems are. Even if it's not something that we can handle from a transportation division standpoint, it might be something that either the police department or community development department may address. So once we hear what their concerns are, then we will develop some solutions, come back to them okay, these are some solutions we've developed to address your concerns. What do you think? And we will have them prioritize any improvements that we might do.
I think we get a perspective from the residents themselves, and it makes us aware of some issues that we didn't know about before, so we can start focusing on them. Now, my job would probably be, if it's brought to my attention, I'll refer it to the traffic division where they may post motorcycle officers in certain locations we hadn't in the past. So these are great input. This is great input from the community because now we're aware of other issues that we may focus on.
Around 75 residents showed up to the workshop and contributed their ideas about how to improve traffic safety in their neighborhood.
There's a lot of issues with not enough light, especially around this time where it's 5:30 and it's dark. A lot of us have to pick up our kids from AOK programs, or we take them to karate, we take them to different classes, so we have to walk or take the bus. So there's a lot of places where there's not enough light. And the speeding, especially when I take my kids to Cleveland, there's a lot of speeding because there's commuters coming. They have to get to work. We have to get to school. So both of us together in one, it's not a really good mix. It's really awful. We have to really pay attention that our kids are not running in front of us. They have to be next to us to make sure that they don't cross and get run over.
My sort of main concerns are better lighting, and I think that ties in with a lot of safety issues in the area. I think speeding is a huge problem, especially along the Salinas Street corridor, and just basically making it safe for people to take their kids to get to school, for people to get from point A to point B safely, and also providing accessibility for wheelchair ramps and filling in missing sidewalks, I think would make the sort of pedestrian experience a whole lot better.
Crossing guard Rudy Galindo has seen many of these issues firsthand.
Most of the time they make a stop over the line. They're supposed to make the stop on the other side, and they about that far from me, and sometimes they don't make a stop at all.
City staff is now compiling the workshop input, and with feedback from future workshops, will develop both long-term and short-term plans for the neighborhood.
What we'll probably see, so maybe like a short-term fix would be maybe there's a street light out at a particular intersection that needs immediate attention. A long-term plan would be lighting for an entire corridor or neighborhood for that matter. Other short-term fixes could be improving visibility at an intersection. Maybe there's an overheight hedge. A long-term approach might be that we need to have an engineering solution for that particular intersection. Maybe the stop signs aren't visible for some reason, or that type of thing.
Once the information has been compiled and plans are developed, staff will present their strategies to City Council to determine the next steps for improvement.
In addition to this workshop, I'll also be sending out surveys, and we've formed a really great partnership with the schools. And if you're a parent of elementary school age children, we'll be sending out hard copy surveys to get more feedback about pedestrian traffic related issues. And we also plan to do electronic surveys through the high school and junior high. Once we get all the surveys back as well, we'll be combing through all of the data, and then we'll start to meet with all the appropriate staff to figure out how we can address these issues. And then probably we're gearing up for the first week of April, where we would bounce off a few ideas with the Eastside residents to say, okay, this is the particular issue, this is how we think we can address it.
More than anything, I think that there's been a real positive momentum going in the East Side, and I think the city is making funding available, and we're also helping them kind of work through that. So I honestly really feel like things are going to start happening. I mean, things have already happened on Milpas Street, and things are going to start happening on Salinas, and with lighting and other safe routes to school grants. So things are already happening, and I just really hope that more improvements continue to happen.
I'm hoping from the community to see that this is real, this is happening, and not to be afraid anymore and not to be less hopeful. You know, I want them to see that someone is listening, that they are paying attention to us, and I'm hoping that from this workshop they see that people are interested in us.
Stay tuned for the next phase of the plan, which includes a second neighborhood outreach in April.